Welcome back, thrill seekers, to another spine-chilling tale from the shadows of the Deep South. Tonight, we're heading to Dauphin Island, Alabama, where the Gulf Coast hides secrets darker than the deepest waters. In the Sand Island shoals, something waits, something ancient, something hungry. They call her the Keeper, and once she knows your name, there's no escaping her song. Before we dive into this haunting story, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a tale that'll keep you up at night. If you love a good scare, give this video a like, drop a comment to tell us what creeps you out most, and share this with your friends who dare to face the unknown. Ready? Let's sail into the darkness. In the heart of Alabama, where the pines stretch tall and the air hums with cicadas, lies the small town of Black Creek, tucked off Highway 231. It's the kind of place you miss if you blink, unless you're one of the few who call it home. I'm Ellie Mae Carver, born and raised here, where the summers are thick with humidity and the nights carry secrets older than the red clay underfoot. This is the story of what happened last fall when the pines started whispering my name. It was late October and Black Creek was gearing up for the Harvest Fair, our one claim to fame. Folks came from as far as Montgomery to ride the creaky Ferris wheel and buy jars of Miss Lula's muscadine jelly. But that year, something felt off. The air was heavier, like it was holding its breath. The pines, usually swaying lazy in the breeze, stood too still, their needles glinting like they were watching. I was 19, working the ticket booth at the fairgrounds, saving up for a one-way bus ticket to Birmingham. Black Creek was home, sure, but it was a trap too. Same faces, same stories, same ghosts. My best friend Caleb worked the booth with me. He was all lanky limbs and easy grins, always talking about how he'd join the Marines and see the world. That night, though, his grin was gone. "You hear that, Ellie?" he whispered, leaning close as the fair's lights flickered. "Hear what?" I asked, though my skin was already prickling. The crowd's chatter, the carousel's tinny music, it all seemed muffled, like someone had turned down the volume on the world. "The pines," he said, pointing toward the dark wall of trees beyond the fairgrounds. "They're talking." I laughed it off, told him he'd been sneaking too much of his daddy's moonshine. But when I stepped out to stretch my legs, I heard it, a low hissing sound, like 1,000 voices murmuring just out of reach. It wasn't the wind. There wasn't any. It was the pines, their branches trembling, whispering, "Ellie, Ellie Mae." I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The fair's lights buzzed and dimmed, and for a split second, I swore I saw something move between the trees. A shadow too tall, too thin, too wrong. "Caleb, you messing with me?" I called, my voice shaky, but when I turned back, the booth was empty. His chair was tipped over, his baseball cap lying in the dirt. My heart slammed against my ribs. "Caleb!" I shouted, running toward the pines, the whispers growing louder, sharper, like they were inside my skull. The fairgrounds faded behind me as I pushed into the forest. The air was cold, unnatural for an Alabama night, and the ground was slick with something wet, moss maybe, or worse. The whispers wove together, forming words. "Come closer, Ellie, we've been waiting." I stumbled over roots, my flashlight beam dancing wildly. That's when I saw it, a figure standing between two pines, tall as a telephone pole, its limbs bent like a praying mantis. Its face, God, its face was a hollow, eyeless mask, stitched together with pine needles, dripping sap like blood. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the trees. The thing didn't move, didn't chase. It just watched, its head tilting like it was curious. Then I heard Caleb's voice, faint and broken, coming from deeper in the woods. "Ellie, help!" I ran toward it, branches clawing at my arms. The whispers now a roar. "You're ours, Ellie Mae, always were." I found Caleb slumped against a tree, his eyes wide and unblinking, his chest rising slow, too slow. His hands were covered in sap, sticky and black, like he'd been trying to claw his way out of something. "It's in the pines," he rasped. "It's been here forever." I dragged him back toward the fairgrounds, his weight heavy against me, the thing's shadow looming behind us. The whispers followed, relentless, promising things I couldn't unhear, promises of staying, of longing of never leaving Black Creek. When we broke through the trees, the fair was silent. No music, no lights, no people, just empty booths and a Ferris wheel spinning slow like it was mocking us. Caleb survived, but he ain't been right since. He doesn't talk, just stares out his window toward the pines. The town acts like nothing happened. The fair packed up and folks went back to their lives, pretending they didn't hear the whispers that night. But I know better. I still hear them every time I pass those trees. Ellie Mae, stay. I never got that bus ticket. Something keeps me here, tethered to Black Creek like roots in the clay. The pines are quiet now, but they're waiting. They always are. And sometimes when the moon's high and the air's still, I see that shadow again, standing just beyond my porch, its needle-stitched face grinning in the dark. My name's Rayford Tate, and I've lived in Mobile County my whole life, down where the bayous twist like veins through the marsh. South Alabama's a world of its own. Gators in the water, Spanish moss dripping from cypress trees, an air so thick you can taste it. Folks around here tell stories about Blackwater Bayou, how it's cursed, how the lights that flicker out there ain't fireflies. I never paid those tales much mind, not until last summer when I saw the light myself. I was 24, working as a shrimper, running my skiff through the channels to check traps. Money was tight, and the bayou was the fastest way to get to the Gulf. That night, the moon was a sliver, barely enough to see by, and the water was black as oil. My outboard motor sputtered, then died, leaving me drifting in the quiet. That's when I saw it, a pale, greenish glow bobbing out in the reeds, like a lantern swaying in the dark. "Somebody out there," I called, my voice echoing off the water. No answer, just the croak of bullfrogs and the hum of mosquitoes. The light flickered, moving closer, then farther, like it was teasing me. I grabbed my paddle, figuring I'd row toward it. Maybe some fool kid was messing around, or a poacher was spotlighting gators. But the closer I got, the colder the air turned, like I'd drifted into winter. My breath fogged, which ain't right for a July night in Alabama. The light stopped, hovering over a patch of water where the cypress knees jutted up like bones. I shone my flashlight, and that's when I saw her. A woman standing on the water, not floating, standing, her feet barely breaking the surface. Her dress was old, like something from a history book, tattered and gray, clinging to her like it was part of her skin. Her hair hung long and wet, covering her face, but I could feel her staring. The light came from her hands, pulsing like a heartbeat. I tried to speak, but my throat locked up. She raised her head just enough for me to see her eyes. Empty, black pits like the bayou itself was looking through her. Then she spoke, her voice a hiss that crawled inside my skull. "You shouldn't be here, Rayford." My name. She knew my name. I hadn't told a soul I was out here. I paddled backward, hard, my skiff rocking as the water started to churn. The light flared brighter, and I saw shapes moving under the surface. Long, writhing things, too big to be fish, too quick to be gators. The woman didn't move, but her voice kept going, low and steady. "Stay, Rayford, stay with us." The air filled with whispers, not just hers, but dozens, hundreds, all coming from the water, the trees, the dark. I don't know how I got out. One minute I was staring into those empty eyes, the next I was back at the dock, my skiff half sunk, my hands blistered from paddling. My watch said I'd lost 3 hours. When I told my cousin Beau what happened, he went pale. "That's the Lady of Blackwater," he said, voice low. "Old folks say she's been out there since the Civil War, luring folks who trespass on her bayou. You're lucky you got away, but I don't feel lucky. I don't go near the bayou no more, but I see that green light sometimes, glowing in the distance, even from my trailer a mile away. At night, when the wind's quiet, I hear her voice whispering my name through the screen door. Rayford, come back. Last week, I found wet footprints on my porch, small and bare, leading right to my bed. They stopped at the edge like she was standing there, watching me sleep. I keep a shotgun by the door now, but I know it won't help. The bayou's got its hooks in me, and the lady's waiting. She always will. I'm Sarah Beth Wheeler, and I grew up in Hollow Hill, a speck of a town in North Alabama, where the cotton fields meet the foothills, and the nearest Walmart's a 40-minute drive. It's the kind of place where everybody knows your business, and the only thing older than the gossip is the Baptist Church on County Road 12. That church, with its peeling white paint and crooked steeple, is where my nightmare began last spring. I was 22, back home from college in Tuscaloosa, helping Mama clean out Grandma's attic after she passed. Grandma was a choir leader at Hollow Hill Baptist, and folks swore her voice could make angels cry. But she'd always warned me, "Sarah Beth, don't linger at that church after dark. The choir ain't always what it seems." I thought it was just old lady talk, her mind slipping like the doctors said. Then I found the hymnal. It was buried in a dusty trunk, leather-bound and heavy, its pages yellowed and smelling of mildew. The cover had no title, just a strange symbol carved into it, a circle with a cross, but the lines were jagged like claw marks. Inside, the hymns weren't like any I'd sung in Sunday school. The words were in English, but twisted, talking about the voiceless choir and the offering in the dark. I showed it to Mama, but she just crossed herself and told me to burn it. I didn't. I should have. That night, I couldn't sleep. The air was too still, the kind of quiet that presses on your chest. Around midnight, I heard it, singing, faint but clear, coming from the church a mile down the road. It wasn't no gospel, I knew, just a low, droning melody that made my teeth ache. I grabbed my flashlight and headed out, figuring it was kids messing around or maybe some late-night prayer group. Hollow Hill's boring. Folks do weird things to pass the time. The church was dark when I got there, windows like black mirrors under the stars, but the singing was louder, coming from inside, a chorus of voices that didn't sound human, too deep, too layered, like they were singing from the bottom of a well. I pushed open the door and the air turned sour, thick with the smell of wet earth and something coppery like blood. The pews were empty, but the choir loft was full. Shadows stood there, tall and hunched, their faces hidden in the dark. They were singing, mouths open wide, but their lips didn't move. The sound just poured out, vibrating the floorboards. "Sarah Beth," one of them said, not breaking the song. My name came from all of them at once, like they'd plucked it from my head. I stumbled back, my flashlight catching glimpses, hands too long, fingers curling like roots, eyes that glinted red in the beam. The hymnal in my pocket felt hot, burning through my jeans. I ran, their voices chasing me, singing, "Join us, Sarah Beth, sing forever." I made it home, locked the door, and hid the hymnal under my bed, too scared to touch it. The next morning, I went back to the church in daylight. It was empty, the air normal, the choir loft bare, but there were scratches on the pulpit, deep and jagged, matching the symbol on the hymnal. I told Preacher John about it, but he just laughed, said I'd been dreaming. Nobody in Hollow Hills heard that choir, or so they claim, but I see how they avoid the church at night, how they whisper about Grandma's passing, like it wasn't just her heart giving out. The hymnal's gone now. I burned it, like Mama said, but the singing never stopped. It's in my dreams, pulling me back to that church. Last week, I woke up with dirt under my nails and my shoes by the door, caked in red clay from the churchyard. I don't know how I got there. I don't want to know what's waiting if I go back, but every night the choir calls my name, and I'm scared one day I'll answer. My name's Marcus Dunn, and I used to be a welder in Birmingham, Alabama, back when the city still smelled of coal dust and molten iron. They call Birmingham the Steel City, but the mills ain't what they used to be. Most are shuttered now, rusting skeletons along I-20. The old Sloss Furnaces, though, that place is different. It's been closed since the 70s, but folks say it's never empty. I didn't believe the stories until last winter when I went looking for my brother Ty. Ty was 28, a photographer with a thing for abandoned places. He'd sneak into old factories, snap pictures of broken machinery, and sell them online to artsy types. Sloss was his obsession. "It's alive, Marcus," he'd say, showing me photos of rusted pipes and blackened furnaces, shadows twisting in the corners like they were moving. Something's still burning in there. I told him he was crazy, but when he didn't come home after a shoot in December, I knew where to look. Sloss at night is a maze of iron and brick, towers looming like giants frozen mid-step. The air's heavy with the ghost of smoke, and the wind howls through the empty stacks, sounding like a scream caught in a throat. I brought a flashlight and Ty's spare camera, figuring I'd find him passed out from cheap whiskey or stuck in a stairwell. Instead, I found his tripod at the base of furnace number 3, lens pointed at the slag pit, but no Ty. "Ty, you out here?" I shouted, my voice bouncing off the metal. No answer, just a low hum, like machinery that shouldn't be running. I checked the camera. The last photo was time-stamped an hour ago, a blurry shot of the furnace with a figure standing inside the firebox. A man, tall and gaunt, his skin glowing red like he was made of embers. The hum got louder and I felt it in my bones, a vibration that made my teeth chatter. I climbed the catwalk to the furnace, my flashlight cutting through the dark. The firebox door was open, which ain't right. Those things are sealed tight, rusted shut for decades. Inside, the air was hot, like standing too close to a grill, and the walls were streaked.